Hello students, good morning. How are you all? I hope you are fine. I am Priyanka Rai and I am an economics teacher. I welcome you all on my YouTube channel Economics at Your Home. Students, as you know that we have begun chapter Human Capital Formation of Indian Economic Development, and you have seen the meaning of resource, human resource, physical resource, human capital, physical capital, and what are the sources of human capital formation. Now we are going to see the difference between physical and human capital. As you can see, it's written here physical and human capital. There are striking differences or dissimilarities between human and physical capital. So much of the things are given here, but I will tell you the difference between physical and human capital in a very short. Okay, so just go through this video and let us see now the difference between physical and human capital. So let us begin. Physical capital, it is tangible, whereas human capital, it is intangible. Physical capital, it is separable from its owner. That means physical capital can be separated from its owners, whereas human capital cannot be separated from its owner. Physical capital is perfectly mobile between the countries. That means it can be easily moved between the countries, whereas human capital, its mobility is restricted by nationality and culture. Physical capital, it depreciates over time due to constant use or due to change in technology, whereas human capital, it though depreciates with aging but can be made up through continuous investments in education and health. Physical capital, it creates only private benefit, whereas human capital, it creates private benefit as well as social benefits. So these are the differences, or you can say dissimilarities between physical capital and human capital. Similarities or differences between human capital and physical capital. Now there's one similarity also between human capital and physical capital. That is that human capital and physical capital are similar because of the fact that the development of both human capital and physical capital require an initial amount of investment. That means both human capital and physical capital require an initial amount of investment, some investments. For example, to acquire human capital, we spend on education, training, on the job training, health, etc. Similarly, we need to spend money in order to possess physical capital. In addition to this, both contribute to growth and development of a country. So I hope the similarity and the dissimilarity is clear to you all. Similarity, there are basically two similarities. First, that they require a little amount of investment, and second, that both contribute to growth and development of a country. So I hope student now it's clear to you all. Now we are going to see a relation between human capital and economic growth. Students, you already know the meaning of human capital. Now, what is the meaning of economic growth? Can anyone tell what do you mean by economic growth? Economic growth means the increase in real national income of a country. So now we are going to see the relationship between human capital and economic growth, how human capital formation or human capital facilitates economic growth, or what is the relation between human capital and economic growth. So the role of human capital formation in the process of growth and development can be explained as: first, change in emotional and material environment of growth; second, higher productivity of physical capital; third, innovative skill; fourth, higher rate of participation and equality. So human capital formation, if I talk about the first point, change in emotional and material environment of growth. So human capital formation causes a change in emotional and material environment of growth. Emotional environment becomes conducive to growth as people tend to acquire growth oriented attitude and aspirations. So basically what I want to convey here is this, that human capital formation causes a change in emotional and material environment of growth. This emotional environment becomes conducive to growth as people tend to acquire growth oriented attitude and aspirations, whereas material environment becomes helpful to growth as the society now possesses higher number of skilled and trained workers to implement the plans and progress of economic growth. If you see the line of your book, it's written who contribute most to national income. A worker in a factory or a software professional. Undoubtedly, a person who is more educated contributes more to economic growth. Now, as I stated, second point, higher productivity of physical capital. Human capital formation increases productivity of physical capital. Without any doubt, just keep this in your mind that human capital formation increases productivity of physical capital. Specialized engineers and skilled workers can certainly handle the machines and other productivity assets in a manner that enhances their productivity. If they are skilled, they are trained, they are working on that. So basically, it will enhance their productivity. So pace of growth is accelerated when productivity enhances. That means economic growth is accelerated when productivity is enhanced. Third, innovative skill. Human capital formation facilitates the use and growth of innovative skills. Larger the number of skilled and trained personnel, greater will be the possibilities of innovation in the area of production and other economic activity. So innovation is the principal determinant of growth. You can say it's inevitable. In order to facilitate the use and growth of innovative skills, human capital formation is meant, and larger the numbers of skilled and trained personnel, greater will be the possibilities of innovation in the area of production. Last but not the least, are this higher rate of participation and equality. Now, what is higher rate of participation and equality? Higher rate of participation. By enhancing productive capacities of the labor force, human capital formation induces greater employment. Once again, just go through this point. By enhancing productive capacities of the labor force, human capital formation induces greater employment. This increases the rate of participation. Rate of participation, with this I mean percentage of labor force participating in the process of production, or simply the percentage of employment of the existing labor force. So higher the rate of participation, greater will be the degree of economic and social equality in the society. Higher rate of participation and higher degree of equality are the pointers to growth with social justice, which is called development. So this is how that is related. So thus there is a cause and effect relationship between human capital and economic growth. Human capital formation stimulates and accelerates the process of economic growth by several ways. First, I discussed, that is change in emotional and material environment of growth. Second is higher productivity of physical capital. Third is innovative skill, and lastly is higher rate of participation and equality. So go through the lines of your book, and I went through the lines of the book and I took out the points and presented before you and explained you. So as you can see, there's one line also in your book, that is empirical evidence to prove that increase in human capital causes economic growth is rather nebulous. Sometimes this line is not understood by the students. So I will convey the meaning of this line. It's very important. Empirical evidence to prove that increase in human capital causes economic growth is rather nebulous. So let me explain you this. There are evidences, there are informations that increase in human capital cause economic growth. So let me bring to your notice that it is not true. It is not clear yet that human capital, increase in human capital will bring more of economic growth. It is not necessary. For example is mentioned in your book once again. The example as mentioned here is education measured in terms of year of schooling and teacher pupil ratio and enrollment rates may not reflect the quality of education. As I said, it is not necessary that one teacher teaching 10 students will give a standard education or quality of education, and one teacher teaching 30 students will not give or will give. So there are differences. It is not necessary. What I want to say, that it is not necessary that increase in human capital is going to contribute economic growth. It is rather nebulous. So hope the relation between human capital and economic growth is clear to you all. Now the topic is end here. In my next video, students, you will be seeing the next topic. Okay, so the next topic will be problems facing human capital formation in India, which I will discuss in my next video. Please go through this video thoroughly and also go through your textbook, whatever book you are having, whether it's NCERT or other supplementary book. Students, you need to go through the lines, and I hope it will be clear to you all, and I also expect the video is helpful to you all. So thank you, and thank you to all those who are watching video out. Thank you.